Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady and Fluffer coming to you from the Lady's Garden and Home. And today I'm going to show you what I'm going to be starting to sow inside in the month of February. So I hope you join us. I'm getting a little bit anxious to start my seeds, and I know there's always warnings about starting too early and running out of space, which I probably will, but I'm counting on the fact that I got the mini greenhouse that I can put up around March and move some stuff from the inside outside to make room for when I start things like the tomatoes and things like that that take up a lot of room. Going off of my handy dandy Farmer's Almanac planner that I printed out, and I have a video on that which I will link to you on how you can use this for free and get a sense of not only laying out your plots but also the timing that's involved and with a place for notes where I always put when I sowed seeds and when I harvested, when I planted outside, that kind of thing. I'm starting out a little bit earlier this year because I felt that so many of my plants, and it could be just my microclimate here in my backyard, many of them didn't take off in time for me to harvest something out of them. Or if I did, it was so late in the season that I felt like if I had started them earlier, I could have gotten a lot more harvests out of them. Things like my peppers and, well, my artichokes, for example, they grew beautifully, but they never went to flower, and I think it was just because I didn't have enough time. So there are certain things that I am starting a little bit earlier. Although I will say that if you have never gardened before, don't go off of what I'm doing unless you've got the room before the frost is done that you can keep them inside your home. Now, a lot of people have complete rooms set up with grow lights and shelving, and they've got plenty of room. I'm a very small scale gardener here. I have a small plot of backyard, and I have a small house. So I really rely on my tea cart that has a glass top, which is very convenient because the light shines through, and it is up against my southern-facing sliding glass door, which gets a tremendous amount of light, even here in the winter, as you can see. By the time you see this video, I probably will have already sown my leek seeds and my onion seeds. Now, these are seeds that I collected myself from the plants that had flowered last year. Got a lot of them, which is good. And I don't know what the variety of onion seeds is because they were from something that I planted, I think, back in 2021. Or even 2020, not sure. So going into some of the things that I started in February last year, but I'm moving up 2 weeks. I've got, going to try the artichoke again. This is Imperial Star. That's from Burpee. I gotta get my glasses on. This is a spring broccoli rabe. I did plant the one that is supposed to overwinter in the fall, and funny enough, it's the only thing that didn't die back in the Arctic blast. So I'll see if I get a spring harvest off of that, but this should be planted in the spring for a harvest, it says 60 days later. Okay, well, we'll see if that happens. Then the broccoli. Last year, I tried a whole bunch of different types of broccoli. I had purple sprouting broccoli. I had green calabrese sprouting broccoli. I had Waltham. I had DeChico. This year, I am going to stick with some old favorites. I'm going to do the Waltham, and this is the sprouting calabrese. I might not do that one. And DeChico. Okay, so those are the broccolis that did well for me in the spring last year, so I'm going to try them again. Brussels sprouts, I've never had much luck with. I overwintered some in the 2021 to 2022 year, and they grew nicely all through the winter under cover. I had them under plastic. By the time, though, the spring rolled around, they were all going to seeds. It tasted a lot like broccoli rabe, actually, only not quite as bitter. So it was good. But this year I really want to try, and I'm going to try a different variety of Brussels sprouts that work. I also tried to overwinter them this year, but they also died in the Arctic blast. Then this Copenhagen market cabbage. Now, I planted 6 plants last year, and my dog dug up the bed. That's when she got really, really sick from something she swallowed when she dug up that bed. You don't want to know. I don't want to know. But 2 survived, and I was able to get heads off of them. They weren't big, but I might have planted them too close together, which I have a habit of doing. Anyway, I'm going to try this Copenhagen again. And this made me happy last year because I had tried in the past to grow cauliflower, and it never worked. You're supposed to tie up the green leaves around the head to prevent it from flowering and turning colors and that kind of stuff. Anyway, these I was very happy with. This is the self-blanching cauliflower. And the fact that it really, really did well, and I was able to harvest. I'm still eating some of the cauliflower off of what I grew last year, and I didn't have that many plants. Of course, we don't eat that much cauliflower, but anyway, I'm going to grow more of that. Then I'll be up in a minute, Poochie. That's Poochie, the upstairs cat. She's very vocal. Okay, anyway. Then later in the month, I'm going to plant a bunch of lettuce, and I'm going to plant them in kind of small plug trays and plant them out in my green stalk as soon as it's supposed to be, just a couple of weeks before you're supposed to sow them 6 to 8 weeks prior to transplanting outdoors. And then plant them out once the danger of frost is past. That's for most of them. Some of them are a little hardier than that, but I'm going to be planting up a whole bunch of lettuce in my green stalk. Celery. Now, anybody who has watched a number of my videos knows the celery story from the great seed shortage of 2020. I couldn't find celery at the store, and I couldn't find celery seeds to grow. This made me nervous, because if you can't find celery, you better start doing something about protecting your, preservation. So I finally did find some seeds. I grew them pretty successfully the second year. Then they flowered, and they flowered beautifully, and then spread their seeds all over the bed. So I had a lot of volunteer celery plants coming up in the fall. I don't know if they will make it through the winter, even under the plastic at that small a size. I think my bigger plants, the ones from the year before, will probably be okay. I don't harvest my celery like cutting it off and taking the whole stalk in. I harvest my celery, the outer stems at a time, and I let the inside then grow on. So that seems to work. But anyway, I'm going to try to plant some more celery just in case all of those volunteers didn't make it. And then what a lot of people don't realize, even though they're really heat-loving plants, is that peppers take a long time to grow. A lot of people also don't realize is that if you've got a mild enough climate, they're actually perennials. So I've done an experiment and brought 2 of my pepper plants inside this year, my paprika plant, and also our favorite Mancini, the peperoncini. And I will be coming out actually with an update on him for his 1-year birthday. So I'm going to start my peppers indoors in February. And I think I'm going to probably do that towards the middle of February. I think I planted them later February last year, and I just want to get a little bit of a bump up on it. And if you can see behind me, on top of this box with the oranges on it, I have a heat mat and I have some grow lights. And I just have that set up so you can see, but when I do my heat-loving plants this month, I'm going to be putting them on that heat mat and underneath those grow lights, mainly because it will be too early to put plants out into the greenhouse, and I will probably be out of room on my tea cart, and this just gives me another space to be able to start seeds. It's a small setup, but like I said, I got a small garden anyway. And that setup really was not very expensive. I don't remember what I paid for them. If I can find these products again, I'll link them below. But it's just a standard heat mat. The lights are interesting because they flex. You don't need to hang them from anything, which I liked because I don't have a system for that. And then I got a timer so I can keep the lights on for a good 12 to 14 hours a day without having to remember to do that, which was a problem last year. So going back to the peppers, I'm definitely going to grow Mancini again. I also have an experiment with him propagating from a cutting that I took off of him, and we'll see if that works. And I got a whole bunch of different kinds of peppers, guys, and I'm not sure what I'm going to grow yet. I'm going to have to go through it. I got pimento, I got paprika, pepperoncinis. Oh, that was from him. Okay. Jalapeno, not going to grow more than one jalapeno plant this year because I still have preserved jalapenos from 2 summers ago. We just don't eat them much. This is a Hungarian yellow wax pepper, Sunbright pepper. I thought that was pretty, the yellow. Then I have seeds that I've saved from my cherry peppers, which I really like, and I use them a lot in cooking. And then an orange banana pepper that I saved, and Keystone Resistant Giant. And I planted this last year, and they didn't ripen in time to get giant. I had to harvest them before the frost. So this is again why I'm starting a little bit earlier this year. This is a Great Stuff hybrid. I'm going to do the same thing with that. And then eggplants. The eggplant was very disappointing last year. I got only a few very small ones. I think that was the heat that was involved, although the position that I had them in was the same as the year before, and they did great that year. So I don't think it was the sun. I think it was the heat that really battered them. But anyway, I'm going to try to grow eggplant again because I'm Italian and we eat eggplant. And then speaking of being Italian and eating things, this is Florence fennel. And I did plant them in the fall. They grew until this blast. I keep talking about the Arctic blast, but it really destroyed a lot of the things I was trying to overwinter, which I was able to do well the year before. So you never know when the weather's going to get you. Oh, and arugula. These are seeds that I saved last year. So that'll go in the green stalk too. This is a lot more hardy than a lot of the other leafy greens. So, oh, where'd my spinach go? Okay, so we're going to do some more leafy greens, spinach. So the spinach that I grew in the fall is not really appropriate for the spring, or it probably would grow. That's the Bloomsdale, but I'm going to be planting this Indian summer hybrid because it's slower to bolt in the hot weather. And I'm going to be planting this in my green stalk as well as some more rainbow chard, which I really have started to have a love affair with. I have to be honest. I think it's a really, really nice substitute for spinach when you don't have much of spinach to harvest. And then we're going to get into the herbs that are cool weather, perfect for the spring to grow. Cilantro, dill, and these are seeds that I saved. Dill seeds are so easy to save. They're fun to cook with too. And these, I'm going to see how much room I have if I decide to start them inside the house, because if I'm running out of space, I'll probably just wait till I have some free space in the greenhouse, because this is going to be a lot of seeds to start. But I'm looking forward to it. That's why I'm getting started early. Well, that's it. We've got some work ahead of us, but hey, what do they say? Idle hands are the devil's workshop or something like that. So it's probably a really nice, healthy thing for me to start getting my seeds sown. I'm very excited. I want to point out a couple of videos that I did last year on seed starting and planting and that kind of thing, because rather than do a completely new one of the same thing this year, I have other content I'd like to get out. One is how to make your own potting mix, and the recipe that I found last year that I used, I'm going to do the same thing this year. It worked, I thought, very well. Starting my onions and leeks, I did a video on that. I also did a video on sowing my peppers and eggplants last year, which you get introduced to Mancini the pepperoncini in, so that might be a good one to check out. Planning your garden with the Farmer's Almanac garden planner. I show on that video how to really get a good start on planning your garden with the free trial version, so you don't have to subscribe to it, although I do subscribe to it, and I think it's worth the subscription price. It's only, I think, $25, $29 a year, something like that. And then the video that I did just before this one is the seed storage and organization, which hopefully will help you get organized. So we're ready to go when it's time to plant. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. I hope you subscribe and join our growing community. At this point, when I'm recording this, we're at almost 200 subscribers, which it's very exciting, and I think we're forming a very nice community. And I'd also like to encourage you to, in the comments section, maybe tell us what you're doing, where you're from, what you're going to be sowing this spring, and just get some dialogue going back and forth. That would be really, really nice. And also share this with friends of yours who may have thought about starting a garden. They're not really sure yet, but you know, they can at least start learning about it and maybe get the bug, and they can start gardening too and growing their own food. So from the Ladies Garden Home, enjoy your gardening journey. Bye. Say goodbye, lady. Lady says goodbye. And Fluffer is zonked out.